Hello, everyone. Welcome to Learn English podcast.
Why many people fail in speaking English. Learn English through podcasts.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to talk to you today because what I'm about to share with you is something that almost every English learner in the world struggles with at some point in their journey. And that is the simple but painful question, why do so many people fail in speaking English? You see, millions of people study English every single day. They buy grammar books, they take online courses, they memorize thousands of vocabulary words. They watch English movies and they even listen to English songs. But when the time comes to speak, their mind goes blank, their mouth freezes, and their confidence disappears. And I know that feeling because I've seen it in thousands of young learners who are passionate, intelligent, and hardworking, but still can't speak English fluently. And I want to tell you something important. It's not because you are not smart. It's not because you don't have talent. And it's not because English is too difficult. The real reason many people fail in speaking English is because of fear, habit, and the wrong way of learning. And today, I want to help you understand this truth deeply so that you can finally break free from the cycle of learning but never speaking. You see, the biggest problem is that most people spend years learning about English, but they never learn how to use English. From the moment they start, they are taught grammar rules, tenses, sentence structures, and vocabulary lists, but no one teaches them how to open their mouth and speak naturally. In school, they are told to memorize, not to communicate. They write essays, but they never have real conversations. They spend hours preparing for exams, but they never practice speaking with others. So their brain becomes filled with English knowledge, but their tongue remains silent. And then when they finally get the chance to speak to a foreigner or a teacher, they freeze, not because they don't know English, but because they have never used it in real life. This is the same as someone who reads 100 books about swimming, but never touches the water. When they finally jump in, they panic. Speaking English is the same. You can read, write, and listen all you want, but until you start speaking, you will never feel confident. And this is where most people fail. Another reason many people fail is because of fear of making mistakes. From a young age, we are trained to avoid being wrong. In school, when you make a grammar mistake, people laugh. When you pronounce something incorrectly, someone corrects you in front of everyone. And that small embarrassment plants a seed of fear inside your mind. Over time, that fear grows. And every time you want to speak English, your brain whispers, "What if I make a mistake? What if people laugh at me? What if I sound stupid?" And because of that fear, you choose silence over speaking. But the truth is, this fear is an illusion. Think about it. How did you learn your first language? When you were a child, did you speak perfectly? No. You made hundreds of mistakes every day. You mispronounced words, you used the wrong grammar, you said funny things, and yet everyone still understood you. You learned because you were not afraid. Children learn fast because they are not scared of being wrong. Adults fail because they are. So if you want to speak English fluently, you must destroy that fear. You must realize that mistakes are not signs of failure. They are signs of progress. Every time you make a mistake, your brain learns. Every time you try again, you improve. And every great English speaker you admire once sounded like a beginner too. Now let's talk about another big reason people fail. They focus too much on grammar instead of communication. Don't get me wrong, grammar is important, but it should not be your prison. I've met so many students who know every rule of grammar, but can't hold a 2-minute conversation because when they speak, they are too busy thinking about whether the verb should be in past tense or present perfect, whether the sentence is correct or not. And by the time they finish thinking, the moment has already passed. Real conversation doesn't wait. In real life, people care more about understanding your message than your grammar. When a baby says, "I go park yesterday," you don't stop and correct them. You smile because you understand. That's how learning should be. If your goal is fluency, you must focus on being understood first and being perfect later. When you communicate clearly, grammar naturally improves over time through experience. But if you spend all your energy on grammar before speaking, you will never start. So the key is to speak first, correct later. Another reason is that many learners practice in silence. They read English books, they write notes, they listen to audio lessons, but they never use their voice. Speaking is a physical skill, not just a mental one. Your mouth, tongue, and brain need to work together like a team. The more you speak, the stronger your speaking muscles become. But if you stay silent, those muscles stay weak. Imagine trying to play the guitar by only watching videos but never touching the strings. You might understand how it works, but you'll never play music. English speaking is the same. You can read, write, and listen all you want, but until you start speaking, you will never feel confident. And this is where most people fail. Another trap that makes many young people fail is comparing themselves to others. You see someone online who speaks fluently and you think, "Wow, they're so good. I will never sound like that." But what you don't see is how many years they practice, how many hours they spoke, how many mistakes they made. You only see their success, not their struggle. Comparison kills your confidence. It makes you believe that others are special and you are not. But English doesn't belong to native speakers only. English belongs to everyone who learns it. You don't need a perfect accent to communicate. You don't need to sound British or American to be fluent. You just need to be understood. If you can express your thoughts clearly, you have already won half the battle. Remember, English is a global language, not a national one. There are billions of accents, and each one tells a story. So never be ashamed of your accent because your accent is proof that you are brave enough to learn another language. Another big reason is that many people don't have a real purpose for learning English. They study because the teacher said it's important or because they want to pass an exam, but not because they truly want to use it in life. And when there is no clear purpose, there is no motivation. The moment the class ends or the exam is finished, they stop practicing. But those who succeed in speaking English fluently always have a strong why. Maybe they want to study abroad, travel, meet people from around the world, or find a better job. Whatever the reason, their goal gives them energy. So if you are struggling, ask yourself, why do I want to speak English? What will English give me? Once you find that reason, you will start speaking not because you have to, but because you want to. Technology has also changed the way people learn, but sadly, many don't use it wisely. They have access to apps, YouTube videos, online lessons, and podcasts, but instead of using them to practice speaking, they spend hours scrolling social media or watching entertainment in their native language. Technology is a tool. It can either make you stronger or make you weaker, depending on how you use it. If you use it to connect with English speakers, to practice pronunciation, to listen and repeat, to record yourself, then technology becomes your greatest ally. But if you waste it on distractions, it becomes your biggest enemy. The difference is discipline. And here's another reason people fail. They give up too soon. Learning to speak English fluently takes time. It's not a one-week challenge. It's a lifelong journey. Many learners start strong for 1 month, then quit when they don't see results. But fluency doesn't come overnight. It comes from small, daily actions, from practicing every day, even when you don't feel like it. Think about how you learned to walk. You fell hundreds of times, but you never gave up. You didn't say walking is too hard. You stood up and tried again. And eventually, you walked. Speaking English is the same. You will make mistakes.
You will forget words. You will feel embarrassed. But if you keep going, one day you will speak fluently without even thinking. The secret is not to be perfect. The secret is to be consistent. But there's something else that many young learners must understand. The real reason people fail in speaking English is not because English is too difficult, not because they lack talent, but because they never train their confidence, their consistency, and their mindset. Think about it. When you were a child learning your first language, no one asked you to memorize grammar rules or to read thick books before speaking. You simply listened, repeated, and made mistakes every single day until you spoke fluently. That's exactly how English should be learned, with fearless repetition, with curiosity, and with patience. Yet many learners fall into the trap of thinking fluency comes from perfection, when in reality, fluency comes from imperfection practiced again and again. Young people especially get discouraged easily when they compare themselves to others on social media who speak beautifully, but they don't see the hours of practice behind that voice, the countless times those speakers failed, forgot, stuttered, or felt embarrassed. You see, comparison is another silent killer of progress. When you focus on others, you lose energy for yourself. You must remember that your English journey is yours alone. Your voice, your accent, your growth, all unique. Technology gives you tools, but discipline gives you results. It's easy to download apps, it's easy to watch videos, but what truly matters is whether you speak, even if your grammar is broken, even if your accent is strong. Because English is not about perfection, it's about communication. When people understand you, you are already succeeding. But most learners forget that and they judge themselves too harshly. They say, my English is bad, or I'm not ready yet. And they wait. Wait for confidence, wait for the right time, wait for motivation. But waiting is the biggest mistake because confidence never appears before action. It appears after action. You must speak first, fail first, and improve later. Every word you say wrong is not a sign of failure, it's a sign of learning. So stop waiting to be perfect before speaking. Speak to become perfect. And for those who say, I don't have people to practice with, I say, the world has changed. You can record yourself, you can talk to an AI, you can join online communities, and you can even shadow podcasts or YouTube videos. You don't need a partner. Your voice can be your own partner. The more you listen to yourself, the more you learn your rhythm, your mistakes, and your strengths. Many people fail because they study English like a school subject, but English is not a subject, it's a skill, and a skill only grows through use. Imagine trying to learn how to swim by reading about swimming. You'll never feel the water. The same is true for English. If you only read and never speak, you'll never feel the language flowing through your mouth. You must use your tongue, your ears, your mind together. That's how real fluency begins. And remember, every expert speaker once sounded like a beginner. Every fluent person you admire once struggled just like you. The only difference between those who succeed and those who fail is that the successful ones never gave up. They spoke even when they were afraid. They practiced even when they made mistakes. And they believed that one day their broken English would become beautiful English. And now we reach the truth, the conclusion that every young learner needs to know. Speaking English is not about how smart you are. It's about how consistent you are. Many people fail not because they don't learn, but because they stop learning. They stop too soon. They let embarrassment silence them. They let fear control their progress. But if you can wake up every morning and say, I will speak today, even for 5 minutes, even just to yourself, even to a mirror, you will be far ahead of those who keep waiting. It's not about studying 10 hours in one day. It's about practicing a little every day. Fluency is not a mountain you climb in one jump. It's a long walk of small steps. One word, one sentence, one mistake, one success at a time. If you never quit, you will never fail. Remember, English is not something that belongs only to native speakers. It's a global language, and you are part of that global family. Don't let your background or your accent make you feel small, because your accent is your story, your identity, your courage and sound. Be proud of it. Be proud that you are learning another language, because that means you have twice the power to think, to connect, to grow. And the next time you feel afraid to speak, tell yourself this: I am not learning English to impress people. I am learning English to express myself. Say it again and again until it becomes your truth. Your voice matters. Your ideas matter. Your progress matters. So use every tool technology gives you: podcasts, YouTube videos, apps, online communities. But remember that the most powerful technology is your mind, your belief that you can, your decision that you will, your courage to start again every time you fail. Because people don't fail in speaking English when they make mistakes. They fail when they stop trying. So don't stop. Don't give up. Keep going, keep speaking, keep believing. Because one day, the English that once scared you will become the English that empowers you. And the voice you were once afraid to use will become the voice that inspires others. And finally, many people fail because they learn alone and never connect with others. Language is about connection, not isolation. You can't learn to speak by yourself forever. You need to interact with people, listen to their voices, respond, make mistakes, and learn together. Join online groups, chat with English learners, comment on YouTube videos, ask questions, and participate in conversations. Every time you use English with real people, your confidence grows. So, my young friend, if you are listening to this right now and you feel frustrated because you've been learning English for years but still can't speak fluently, I want you to know that you are not a failure. You are just on the way. The only difference between those who succeed and those who fail is persistence. The ones who fail stop speaking. The ones who succeed keep speaking, even when it's hard, even when they're afraid, even when they make mistakes, because every word they speak brings them closer to their goal. You don't need perfect grammar, you don't need a native accent, and you don't need to know every word in the dictionary. You just need to start. Start small, speak often, and never stop.